Returning to our top story, and there's uncertainty around whether the ceasefire agreement will come into effect on Sunday as Israel delays a cabinet vote on the deal. Udi Goren is the cousin of an Israeli hostage who was killed in the October 7 attacks, and he joins us now. Udi, thanks for your time this morning. It must have been quite bittersweet for you hearing the news of the ceasefire and hostage deal yesterday. How are you feeling today now that things seem to be constantly changing?
Well, first of all, they've been constantly changing for the past 15 months, so I didn't really have expectations that everything is going to go smoothly. But I do want to tell you that here on our side, it seems that the what was going on earlier has been solved, and the government will meet tomorrow to approve the deal, and that means that the ceasefire might already start on Monday.
So you and other families, Udi, have been, campaigning to secure a hostage deal for so many months now. How do you feel now that this seems to be hopefully about to happen?
Well, what we have to remember that this deal that's coming through is actually it's only going to take place for the first step out of three. And this phase of the deal would only release 33 hostages. It's not for every single one, because once we go into this deal 2 weeks in, both parties would begin negotiating for the release of the remaining hostages. And it's a very conflicting moment for all of us, because on the one hand, I'm thrilled at the thought that some of the people that have become my extended family will be getting their loved ones back home, maybe even next week. And yet, for us, for the remaining families, we will still be in the struggle for a while. So if this deal does get approved on Monday and the ceasefire does take effect, that means that we're just in a new stage of this struggle, and it's still long from being over.
So as you mentioned there, Udi, it will be women, the elderly and the wounded who will be the first to be released. Do you feel quite wary then about the rest of the hostages and how that might play out?
Absolutely. I mean, we've got to remember that both parties, Israel and Hamas, have zero confidence in each other. So sealing a deal and actually making sure that it gets fulfilled all the way through is very difficult in this kind of a situation where neither side believes the other. And aside from that, at the end of the day, on the other side, unfortunately, there is a terrorist organization that what they've done on October 7th and what they've been doing since, and actually the way they've been treating their own people, that means that, they really don't share the same interests or the same values as Israel does. And this means that they will, and we've been at war for a very long time, not just these 15 months, the conflict goes back much further, and there's no reason to believe they will not do anything in their power to keep hurting us and to stay in power. And this is very frightening. And for all of us, I mean, this could fall through at any point. And our biggest challenge would be to make sure that the deal does see all hostages coming back, even when we move from the first step to the second to the third.
Udi, for you, you've spoken about, you hope to bring the body of your cousin who was killed home. What will that mean to you and your family?
My cousin is fourth generation to the founders of the kibbutz where he lived. Our grandparents built that kibbutz. This is where he was born. This is where he was raised, where he chose to raise a family, and where he eventually died. So it goes without saying for us that this is where he should find his final resting place. And for us, it's not just us, for many of the families, we didn't even have time to grieve and actually take a moment and pause and think about the losses that we've been through, because we've been in this struggle, getting our loved ones back. And only once we have a proper burial And that's when we know we can find some kind of closure. I want to use the word solace, but there's very little solace in that. But at least there will be closure, and that would be a turning point where we can say, all right, now it's time to rebuild, to go back to real life.
Thanks so much for your time today, Udi, and wishing you and your family all the best.
Thank you.